Okay, let's see how to read from CSV files. This is the question. Write a PHP program that reads CSV file which contains item ID, item description, weight, and quantity. Insert them into a database. Assumptions can be made if required. So the first assumption here is that the file name is called items.csv. The first record in it has the descriptors: item ID, item description, weight, and quantity. Okay, normally when you have say CSV files, these type of descriptors are placed as the first record. If not, then we will have to deal with all the data. So assuming we have 3 records as such, mark the comma separated values. If you like to, you can have double quotes right here with the strings, and numbers can be omitted. Open the file with read mode. First thing first, you know how to open the file, so it's F open. Paste the data from the file. And how do you do that? So until there is end of file, FEOF. Okay, so until there we have FOEFF, function called FEOF. Okay, correctly. So until the file is not reached here, what we can do is we can look through them. If not, FEOF, and you can look through it. This is the logic right here. Okay. Having said that, and finally, once you're done fetching your data, maybe it's a 2-dimensional array or something like that, and close the file. Close the file immediately. Next, we have to open the database. So for your comfort, you can have a separate file, or you can have the database script getting open on the same line. Assuming the database table is structured to be, again, we have an assumption that the let's say if you have some database access things like you need username, passwords, and so on. So assuming, let's call it, say I have a database host name is localhost, is localhost, username is password is blank, and database is VM. Also, the table structure is as given below. All those IDs are integer. Rate and quantity. Rate might be float type, or quantity might be float type, and so on. Now, so with this thing said, so let's look through the record. Maybe we have a 2-dimensional array, so this could be a for each loop. Preferred one. So within that loop, you have to prepare a well-formed SQL. What is it? It's an insert statement. And finally, we execute it. How to do that? Through the function called MySQL underscore. What does it need? Engine. SQL. That's it. And finally, stop. Okay, in case the SQL insert statement has some error, you'll have to stop. Otherwise, until there are records, you'll have to continue, and the records will be stored within the database. Finally, after the loop ends, close the file, that you had opened already. Oh, this close is right here, so you don't need it this way. So let's remove it from here, and so that would be 7, I guess. Close the database now. This is your logic. So without logic, I open up my PHP Storm. You could have any other editors. I could randomly create a folder to place all my files together. Then I had items.csv file, and I manually created all these things. For the time being, I have 3 records. Maybe to verify, 3 records will be more than sufficient. And if you look at, the file is called read CSV store in database .php file. So first thing first, open the file. So it says have open, and you know how to open a file. If there is an error, you display the message, you don't follow below. So, and it has to be in the read mode. Next, so assuming the first record to be the header information, so I'll have to skip it. So to skip, this is the logic. As simple as that. So while file is not reached to the end of file, what do? You skip the first line. So this is skipping the first line, and we have very special function called array underscore push. So every time a new record will be fetched, new line will be fetched from the CSV file, it will be placed within the data array. So I have prepared a blank array, and that data will be collecting all the records. Done. If you like to, you can uncomment this, and you can see what is your data like looking like. This is important. So once you see the data, you'll have some confidence. But for me, I don't need it. Exam point of view, it's not needed. So next we have is connect to the database. That means we are done. So instead, if you want to close your file, you can do that here. So you could have said f0 close .fp. Okay. Next thing, connect to the database. This is what we do. So I have a host name called localhost, root, and password. Usually on the live servers, we don't do that. We don't get connected with root user and with password blank. But for the time being, it's okay. Then after for each, so we have the data now. It's as a 2-dimensional array. The data is a 2-dimensional array right here. Therefore, I need to get the values. So prepare the insert statement. Insert into table name, assuming all column is the values. So they are all of not null type. Therefore, the first value goes to the first column, second value to the second column, third value to the third column, and the rest. If you need to, whether that query is well formed or not, then you could have disabled this statement and you could have seen. Otherwise, execute those statements. Okay, so this is the function called MySQL underscore query. And if you remember, it gives you a result set. And as a decisive parameter, we have MySQL underscore affected underscore rows, which requires a link connectivity. And as I said, if there is any error, like say a second row or third row is not getting inserted, then it's worthless that you move onwards. You set it to be stop. So with a message that there was some error, I have the break statement, so that even if the CSV file has been read properly, there might be issues within the database. It could be anything. Okay. So then after, in the data, since we have already skipped the first row, so now count of data will give you the total number of records that are being inserted. So here you are. And finally, since your file has already been closed, you don't have to re-close it. So now close the database. Let's see how things work. So Since I have already tested, these data are right here. Let me go back and remove all this data. So now if you see, the table items do not have any records. Okay, I have this file, the read underscore CSV underscore restoring database.php. So let's refresh this. It says 3 records were inserted. Let's confirm. Yes, 3 records were inserted. I hope that was your requirement. If you have any confusion, you can keep commenting.